In our search for Zarahemla, we need to expand our views. For too long, too many people have thought that Zarahemla should have a pattern comparable to the stone cities of the ancient world. Zarahemla was the capital city of a large territory. A trade center connected the city by water to more than 500,000 square miles. Is there another ancient city, someplace elsewhere in the world, that is comparable to Zarahemla? Yes. Let's look at the other side of the world at the ancient city of Novgorod. The Volga River connects northern Russia to the Caspian Sea and the Orient. The Dnieper River connects the same area to the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Novgorod, Russia's first capital, locates at the headwaters of these two rivers. In its time, Novogrod was Northern Europe's largest medieval city. Only in the last 100 years have hundreds of scientists brought Novgorod out of the ground. The results from this search are fantastic. The city is more extensive than anyone expected when the dig began. From the mud of Novgorod, archaeologists have found tens of thousands of artifacts. The stratification of layers evidence is clear from the digging. From the excavations, it became easier to understand how Novgorod was the only large city in Eastern Europe that remained free from the Mongols who came across the steppes to occupy Poland and beat at Vienna's gates. From the recent archaeology of Novgorod, Russians rediscovered the power of their history and their ancestors' will to fight for their land. Novgorod is the base from which the great Russian Empire of the modern world took its first root. The ancient city of Novgorod used earth and wood to construct habitation and fortification. We see in Novgorod what we expect to find in Zarahemla. The stratification of Zarahemla in the ground is comparable to what scientists have found in Novgorod. We are only at the earliest stages of our research. We need to dig deeper into the ground as we search for the artifacts connected to Zarahemla's timeline. Last December, it was easy to find hundreds of pieces of charcoal and pottery shards at a depth of 4 feet from the fields that we had scanned in November. We were so excited that we were getting close to centers that connected to the city life of Zarahemla in the 4th century. We found 100 pieces of artifacts from our 3.5-inch core samples. In December, we drilled down 4 feet, and we found the fire pits that we identified on the digital maps that came from our senses scanning in November. We thought that the charcoal pieces would give evidence of radiocarbon dates from the 5th and 4th centuries. We were inexperienced in the preparations of our samples. Nevertheless, in December, we sent 15 bags of ancient charcoal to the Vilnius radiocarbon laboratory for testing. We found out that our samples had too much clay and sand, and that because of these foreign materials, we lost critical organic materials for testing. In early February, we used distilled water to separate the charcoal from the sample's impurities by gravity flotation. A new set of samples is in the laboratory, and the radiocarbon results will be certified after the first week of March. In February, we sent 4 pottery pieces from the same field sites for thermoluminescence dating. The shards are surface finds gathered by local artifact collectors. The laboratory results came back this week for our first 4 surface finds, and they show dates that are AD 1000 plus or minus 100 years. Our first dates from core samples revealed that we need to go deeper, as out of the 5 successful tests, we have 2 in the 20th century, 2 at 1000 AD, and 1 at 235 BC. We are not discouraged with our first results because we are probing over a 2+ mile area, searching for dense activity on a horizon layer upon which we can concentrate. We are looking for the horizon level that will yield earlier dates for Zarahemla. Here is the stratification of some of our results that we found from the ground of Zarahemla. We need older artifacts, and, therefore, we will drill deeper. We took most of our first samples from depths of 4 feet. From now on, we will drill down to 10 feet. We think that at that depth, we will find artifacts that are as old as 2000 years. When we drill down 10 feet, we expect to find artifacts connected to Zarahemla at its peak. Also, at 10 feet, we will be in a stratification layer comparable to the ancient city of Novgorod. We recognize that the Russian excavation of Novgorod during the last 100 years has involved scores of workers and many skilled scientists. We need the best help we can find. We have already contacted a leading university in the Midwest to determine their interest in helping us with an archaeological dig. The first reaction is positive. We must organize ourselves in a way that fits the requirements of our goals and the size of the ancient city. We have only drilled 24 holes with a hand-powered auger that had a 3.5-inch core. So far, we have hit less than 1% of the fire pits on our digital maps of 223 acres. We need to mechanize soil core drilling with advanced machines engineered with hydraulic systems powered by gas engines. These machines will make it possible to drill down more than 10 feet at hundreds of locations. From these drill cores, we will get thousands of artifacts and charcoal samples from the time of Zarahemla. We will plot these samples in a 3D matrix on a computer, and we will identify those places where we should dig. All these efforts will require money. We are sure that after we have spent 1% of what others have paid in Mesoamerica for Book of Mormon studies, we will have 10 times more information. We know that the truth will come out of the ground. We will continue to look in those places that connect to the Book of Mormon's original story.